What is up, my beautiful YouTube family? In this video, we're going to be going over step-by-step, detailed, in-depth tutorials about how to be successful selling on Amazon. And we're going to be going over some major recent changes that you need to know about in order to be successful in 2019. So grab some popcorn, strap yourself in, because trust me, you're not going to want to miss this one. All right, let's get started. How to sell on Amazon 2019, the complete guide. Let's get into this. So, why sell on Amazon? Well, Amazon is growing at a massive pace. They're even starting to dominate the global marketplaces, such as the UK, Germany, France, Australia, India, and Japan, just to name a few. So it's safe to say Amazon isn't slowing down anytime soon. If you look at the graph on the right, you can clearly see some major, and I mean major growth. So from 2014 to 2018, that's only 4 years, you literally are looking at a 3x improvement in the billions. That is a major feat, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're looking at these numbers on the right hand side, 2019 isn't released yet, but you can clearly see the trajectory. And not only that, but Amazon has extended their brand across the globe. So right now is the absolute perfect time to get started selling on Amazon. Okay. Now, before we get started, I'm just going to be going over a couple services. Amazon Seller Services, zonrush.co, that's my company. And the software I'm going to be recommending is called Helium 10. Maybe you've already heard of it, but we'll go ahead and get into the strategies in the training. I just wanted to lay out some of the tools and resources we'll be going over. And if you stay till the end, there's going to be incredible bonuses for all you guys who stay to the end of this training, all right? So, Fulfillment by Amazon, also known as FBA. Amazon has opened up the doors to not only 2-day, but 1-day fulfillment. Anybody can now partake in the shifting global economy of e-commerce. You can take your own slice of the huge Amazon pie. Now, the reason why Amazon has been able to grow so massively is because they have opened up the doors of traffic to the average person with their Fulfillment by Amazon, third-party services. Now, this is incredible because in the past, if you wanted to start a business, or even if you wanted to, sell anything, any sort of commerce online, you needed to solve the issue of fulfillment, which basically means when a customer orders a product, you have to fulfill it, and you have to fulfill it on time. So what Amazon has done as a global brand is they have built trust with their 2-day fulfillment. Customers know that they can trust Amazon to get their products and goods delivered on time. Not to mention, Amazon also offers a 30-day refund policy. So for whatever reason, a customer is not happy, Amazon will refund the customer so long as the customer sends the product back. So this is what has allowed Amazon to completely pivot and shift gears into massive growth. And what you'll be doing as a new Amazon seller is you're literally partaking in the future, right? Things are changing. Everyone wants their goods cheaper, better, and faster. And by partnering with Amazon, one of the world's largest brands, you'll be able to literally slice out a niche for yourself and stamp your name on it and ultimately dominate in your little sector, the Amazon marketplace. So what does the actual journey look like? And this is the journey for the private label seller. Okay, so at first you have to start. So this means organizing your business and your brand. Second portion is research. Discover niche opportunities. Third, build, partner with top manufacturers. Launch your product. Feedback. You need data incubation. And then hyper growth. Improve and dominate. So here's a little FBA milestone / timeline. Okay. This is the journey of the private label seller. So let's just say in January, you want to begin selling on Amazon, okay? So you'll look into the very first month, look into the business entity configuration, and you'll be doing some preliminary product research. And then say by February, once you've gotten an idea of the type of product you want to sell, you'll begin to reach out to manufacturers and order samples. And also in this time, you'll reach out to graphic designers to help you design your packaging. So you can easily do this on Fiverr.com, pay someone $15 to get you a great package design. Now I'm going to be going over each of these steps in detail right now as the training proceeds. I just wanted to give you a landscape view of the entire process before we get into the actual, the nitty gritty of this training. So March, you'll place your inventory order after extensive product research. Product research is probably going to take you the most time, but with anything in life, if you want to succeed, you have to invest the time. No shortcuts. Invest in your brand and invest in the actual research aspect of it. It's what's going to pay off in the long run. So as you can see, we're already 3 months into the timeline. Okay. Now in April, right? So you've placed your first inventory order 3 months in after your extensive product research. By April, you'll go ahead and ship your inventory to Amazon. So let's say it takes your manufacturer 30 days to produce your product. So they're producing it in March. April, it's good to go. In May, Amazon will receive the inventory, and this will now allow you to launch your product on the marketplace. In June, you'll get product reviews and product feedback fast. And July and August, right? From June to August, it's gonna essentially be your launch, right? You're gonna bring the product to the marketplace, grow your reviews, grow that much needed social proof that you're going to need in order to succeed. And then you're gonna analyze the customer feedback in August and improve the product, and then you'll start the process again. Now let's go ahead and get into detail exactly what all of this means for you. So, setting up your business. Well, first things first, you'll want to set up your business entity, whether it's an LLC, corporation, partnership, etc. You can consult. There's plenty, and I mean plenty, of online entities that'll help you literally take this off your hands. You just have to give them some information. So you also need to figure out your tax nexus. So the tax nexus is more than likely going to reside in the state you're living in, but you can reach out to a company called taxjar.com for more specific Amazon tax related questions, or you can even email Amazon seller support to hear it straight from the horse's mouth, if you will. And the third portion of setting up your business is create a Seller Central account. So to do that, just go to sellercentral.amazon.com to create a professional selling account. It'll cost you $40 a month. And what's really neat about this is you'll want to set this up ahead of time, and Amazon will actually reimburse you. Let's say it takes you 2 months, to get your inventory set up. So you'll have an account active for 2 months. But this does a couple things. One, when you're first starting on the marketplace, you want to do this sooner rather than later, because the first 60 days or so, your account's in sort of a new seller probation, meaning they'll hold funds a little bit longer just because of the age of the account. So if you can start this sooner rather than later, you'll go ahead and start that probationary period ahead of time. And again, since you're not going to have any sales, obviously the first 2 months, because you need to create the listing, get your product sent into Amazon, just email Amazon seller support once your products arrive and say, hey, look, I've paid for the previous 60 days. Can you reimburse me these $40, $80 total? And they'll reimburse you. So that's really cool. But you're going to need to have this set up ahead of time, even if you don't know what your product is, because you'll want to know if the products you're selling are gated, if you need paperwork. And so once you begin creating your listing, Amazon will notify you saying, hey, look, if you want to be in this category, since you've already started creating the listing, we'll need some paperwork first. So that's why you want to open your account ASAP. Okay. Now, what you're going to want to do once you have some of that information set up, right? You got your business entity, any partners, you got everything organized, the legalese, if you will. Now you're going to want to look into finding your niche. So it's best to select a niche that you can see huge adjacent growth potential in. So for example, if you're selling charcoal powder, which is that powder you put people that went viral, they're putting in their teeth and it makes their entire mouth black. Let's say you're selling that product, charcoal powder. Well, you can also sell bamboo toothbrushes, charcoal toothpaste, charcoal mouthwash, all of these products that are related to your one primary product. And what this does is it allows you to build a brand where you're not necessarily just changing, the variation, maybe just the flavor or whatever to the charcoal powder. You're actually adding more value to the marketplace by adding other products that people are buying. And the easiest way to get, really great niche ideas is look at the frequently bought together lists. So if there's a product you're looking at selling or a few products that maybe have your interest, click on the listing and look at the frequently bought together list. That'll tell you, that's straight free data from Amazon, and it's literally telling you other products people are buying along with this product. So if you could get in on that market, you can see that you have huge potential to grow your product line in adjacent markets, and that will allow you to further expand your growth. Now, ideally, you'll want to stay within a category that you resonate with or have some level of expertise in. However, you also need to remain objective. If the numbers don't support growth in a particular category, just move on. Now, the reason why I said ideally you'll want to stay within a category that you have some level of expertise in is because it's going to make the entire process much more fun for you, plain and simple. If you're selling ladders, it's going to be really hard to stick to your guns if you don't have some sort of interest in the product, and if the product is just arbitrary. However, I do take that with a grain of salt, because I do know not some product niches and categories are much more saturated than others. So in order to remain objective, look at the numbers. Again, if they don't make sense, if it's oversaturated, which I'm about to show you how to analyze, just move on. Okay, so research. The number one cardinal rule. And this rule comes straight from Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world. And he's stayed one of the richest men in the world for the past 3 or 4 decades. And he says something incredibly simple: buy low and sell high. Rule number one: buy low, sell high. Now, what you're going to want to do when you're looking at numbers is your net profit, which means, let's say, for example, you're buying a product for $3. Okay, your minimum net profit needs to be at least $9, and that's already including you took money out for restock, for shipping, FBA fees, marketing fees. All after everything's paid, you're left with $9 in profit. And the reason why you want to stick to the 3x minimum rule is because it'll allow you to quickly reinvest profits into further expanding your product line. And it'll hedge your risk for the long term. When you're paying for PPC and you have a healthy margin there, you can be much more competitive and you can stay a dominant player when you have healthy margins for you to operate in. So again, this is part of the process that takes time. When you're looking for products, don't just go for the first few you see. You really want to vet them, and you really want to have cushion built into your profit margins, because without cushion, it's going to be very hard for you to scale, and it's going to be very hard for you to compete as a particular category may get more competitive. So this will help you succeed long term. A minimum 3x net. Now, avoid saturated markets. Well, how do you determine this? It's really easy. Once you already have a few product ideas in mind, if you go to Amazon.com, and type in your main keyword, if all the products on page one look the same, odds are they're buying them from the same manufacturers and they're not differentiated enough, which means people are just changing the color or whatever and just stamping their brand on it. You do not want to do that. Long gone are the days where you can just buy a product, don't make any changes to it, and just stamp a logo and say, buy mine, buy mine. What's going to happen in those markets is, since there's a lack of differentiation, the differentiating factor that's going to be pivotal is the lower price. So eventually all of those sellers are going to be competing for less and less margin. So you do not want to be in that marketplace. So if all the products on page one look the exact same, I would advise staying away from that market, because they're getting them from the same manufacturers, and for you to stand out would be very difficult. Now, also on the first page, do the top 10 products on page one have less than 100 reviews? So you'll want to look for a 60-40 split. If 60, let's say, have above 100 reviews, but 40% of them don't, then at that point it may be an interesting market to be in. You might want to consider it if there's products on the first page with less than 100 reviews. Now, 100 reviews is the absolute minimum. If you can also go lower than 100 reviews, let's say 50 reviews, but odds are finding a niche to match all of these criteria, it's going to be very hard. So take it with a grain of salt. 100 reviews, is it set in stone? No. If you see an opportunity, then go after it despite the reviews, because I'm about to show you later in this training how you can make the reviews irrelevant, because your product is going to be much more superior. Now, can you improve what's already on the marketplace? Now, this is going to feed into the point I just talked about. Don't be completely intimidated with the review count on the first page, because there's a tool called Helium 10, and they have this review extractor Chrome extension. So what you'll want to do, and this is very, very important when you're doing your research. So when you're looking to add value to the marketplace, you need to think about how much you can add to a product to make it better. And the best way to do that is look at the top sellers, go to their reviews, use the Helium 10 review extractor, and filter down to the 1 and 2 star reviews. This is going to literally be gold for you. And here's the reason why. If you can see what customers do not like about the top sellers' products, you can use that data to send to manufacturers and say, hey, look, people don't like the quality, the size, they wish it did this, that, whatever that issue they're having is. And you have the manufacturers bring those, what's the word I'm looking for? Bring the lack of that product into an upgrade for your product. So your top competitors, though they're the top competitors, they're still not meeting the needs of customers who are leaving 2 and 1 star reviews. And you'll use that information to build into your product. So when you come to the marketplace, you're already better than your competitors, because you've built into your product your competitors' shortcomings. There we go. And so that's where this gets really powerful, because by the time a competitor can respond to your upgraded product, you'll at least have 6 months of reviews and a 6-month head start relative to your competitors. So that's where differentiating becomes extremely powerful in 2019, by looking at the reviews, using that market data to improve your product, and coming to the marketplace with a superior product. Right? That's where this gets incredibly, incredibly powerful. And what's awesome is that all of this information is just on Amazon. And what you can do is, for your top 3 competitors, look at the 1 and 2 star reviews and make a list. What are the common denominators across all 3 products that customers are consistently finding issues with? If you can identify those common denominator issues, that customers are having with your top competitors' products, you can use that to be far more superior when you come to launch your product. Okay. Now, that was incredibly powerful. Now let's move on to the next step, which is when you're typing in a keyword on the Amazon search, ideally you'll want to stay in a product category that has less than 1,000 sellers. So if you type in on Amazon, charcoal powder, and it says results 1,000, green light. If it says results 50,000, red light. You'll want to stay far away from that niche, because that means there's 50,000 other Amazon sellers that you're going to have to compete with on PPC in order to do decently well. Okay. And it also helps that when you're looking at the main keyword, go ahead and niche down on the left hand side. So it'll tell you, further niche down into the category on the left hand side. So make sure you're in not the general category, because that's going to more than likely have a ton of sellers, but niche down into your specific category and then go off of that number. Okay. And monthly sales volume between 300 to 1500. So also Helium 10 has this amazing tool that this extension, on the flip of a dime, when you're typing in a keyword, you'll have the extension on and you can literally vet all of the products, see all of their monthly sales, monthly revenue, reviews, etc. in a split second. So you'll need to add the extension by Helium 10 and you'll be able to see the monthly sales volume. And again, ideally you want to stay between 300 to 1500 in monthly sales. Now, the reason why I like 300 to 1500 is because anything more than 1500 sales a month means that you're going to need to be carrying a ton of inventory on hand in order to do very well. It's much better to look at sales between 300 to 1500 because it's more manageable for new sellers and it will allow you to grow very efficient in your inventory management. Okay. So if you're starting off with 500 units and the average is 300 units for the month, you at least have almost 2 months worth of inventory stacked and good to go. So that way, when that first month goes, let's say you sell through the first 300 right away, once you begin to send in your second half of inventory of 200 units, then you can place your second order of inventory ahead of time. So this is just criteria. I'm not trying to get too complicated right now in this particular aspect of it, but I just want you to know that 300 to 1500 will allow you to carry less inventory and learn the data real quick, hands-on, without having to order thousands of units. Because generally, if you have to order thousands of units on your first batch, that's a lot of risk you're taking without having proven demand for your particular product yet. Okay, so 300 to 1500 is healthy. So here's how this workflow is going to look. Step 1, finding your niche. Like I just had mentioned, there's a tool called Black Box. It's at helium10.com. If you need a software to help you find more product inspiration, use a tool called Black Box. It's an incredible tool. If you look through some of my videos through product research, I'll show you detailed step-by-step how to use this product research tool. Okay, so you can find the video on my playlist. It should be under product research. Now, step 2, you're going to filter through the product list according to the criteria we just went over. And step 3, finding quality manufacturers and order samples. Okay, so now we're going to get into the building aspect. So now that you've found particular products that met your criteria, you're talking to manufacturers, you're ordering samples. Now we're going to go ahead into build, which is quality plus speed. So test. You want to reach out to the top 3 manufacturers for your selected product and order samples. Samples are extremely important because you need to know the quality of the product from the manufacturer before you make, this large investment in ordering inventory. And here's a pretty neat rule of thumb or balance, if you will. You'll want to find the manufacturer with the highest score from these three attributes: price, quality, speed. Price, quality, speed. So the definition or the way you're going to want to use this scorecard is essentially, you've ordered your samples. Now you're going to look at which manufacturer is offering you the most competitive price. The cheapest isn't always the best product, which is why I'm saying the most competitive price. Because if they're, hairs away from each other, you can use your quote from another manufacturer as leverage when you're talking to another manufacturer and say, hey, look, you guys are off 15, 25 cents. Is there something you can do for me? Your products are fairly similar. And, as a first time gesture of working together and continual long term business, would you be able to match what this other manufacturer is doing? Okay. Now, quality obviously is going to be your top priority after price, because once you get your products, pay close attention to every single detail of the product, and you have to make sure it's of the highest quality. Now, one of the best ways to reverse engineer this would be to order a couple of products from one of your potential competitors on Amazon ahead of time. If they're a top seller already on Amazon and you order their product, you can see exactly the quality of that product. So you can have your competitor's top quality product in your hand. So when you order your samples, you can match the quality. Now, if the quality is, terrible relative to your competitors, again, you have your hands on both products, you'll know to go with the manufacturer that most matches the top quality of your top competitor. I hope that made sense. You want to have both products in your hands, not only samples, because you can have samples, but if you don't know what you're competing against, you're just going to be guessing when you're looking at the samples. You're not going to know what your true criteria, what the true competition, what you're up against really, unless you also have your competitor's product in your hand, and you'll be at that point equipped to compare them adequately. Okay. And also speed plays a huge factor, because if one manufacturer is going to take 30 days to get you your product, whereas another one can get it to you in 25 days, and if the quality and price are very similar, you'll really want to consider speed, because in the long term, speed plays a huge play in your success as an Amazon seller, because you need a manufacturer who can meet your demand quickly in case sales start to really pick up. And if a manufacturer is taking 30 to 45 days, and again, this is a rather arbitrary number, because it's going to obviously depend on what your product is. Some products, especially if they're made by hand and stitched, for example, they're going to take a little bit longer. So you don't want to rush necessarily, but you do want the manufacturer who has a sense of urgency and who understands, your needs as an Amazon seller. So not necessarily the fastest, but the manufacturer that understands your sense of urgency. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So buy and ship inventory. You can ship to yourself, to Amazon, or a third-party warehouse. So now we're almost completing this gradient grid of the private label seller. Now, when you're buying inventory, once you've settled on a manufacturer, make sure to have them arrange the payment agreement through Alibaba's trade assurance. Okay? What Alibaba's trade assurance is, it's basically their insurance policy to make sure that you get your products in exactly the way you and the manufacturer agreed they would come. So, completely finished. The boxes aren't messed up, your products aren't all broken. If anything's wrong with your order, if they come broken or you have an issue with quality, then you can take it up with the Alibaba's trade assurance to mediate the situation and get you compensated for your inventory. Okay. You can also order an inventory inspection ahead of time. There are plenty, and I mean plenty, of high quality inventory inspectors that will that will drive to your manufacturer's location and inspect your products ahead of time, and they'll give you the scorecard. If it's good, then you're good to go. If it's bad, you can tell your manufacturer, hey, look, the inspection came back and some of the units are missing something, or look, a couple are torn. You'll have that fixed before they even get on the boat and get shipped to you, because you'll want to know and have everything perfect before you get your product shipped to yourself, right? So any issues, you'll want to nip them quickly and get that resolved. So if you just Google product inspections China, you'll find a array of companies that will do this for you fairly cheaply. Now, I will also say, if this is your first order of inventory, I would highly recommend that you get this first batch of inventory sent to yourself. Again, you're not going to be ordering thousands of units for your first product. That would be crazy. Keep it under 1,000 for your first batch. And I always recommend getting it sent to yourself, because though an inspection looks good, you still want to see how everything's put together with your own eyes, at least for the very first batch of inventory. And if your residents, if you're living in an apartment, for an example, and you can't accept the inventory, if you use the third portion of this is setting up a shipping plan using Freightos, you can have your freight forwarder send you pictures or even a video, and have them send the video just to make sure that everything is good with the product. You can even have your manufacturer send you product videos before they ship out the goods, with them holding it and turning it, so you can see clearly in 3D the quality of the product and make sure it matches your demands. Okay. And if you're sourcing products in the US, manufacturers are very familiar with the 30% down rule. So US, China, wherever you're getting your inventory, all manufacturers know that you're not going to be paying for all of your inventory up front, right? So it's usually going to be 30% down, and these are going to be the terms that, especially in Alibaba, they're very familiar with. It'll usually be 30% down, and then upon completion, once your products are completed, then you'll pay the 70% difference. And if you're using Alibaba's trade assurance, the funds are held in an escrow until you get your product and everything's okay. All right, so that protects your risk as a seller. So here's how this workflow is going to look. So the product workflow: build out your listing and make sure it's fully optimized. So while your product is in production, though you're not going to have photos yet, you can begin creating your listing, right? So if you're struggling with professional copy and you don't know very much about Amazon SEO, my company ZonRush, we actually have professional copywriters who are making listings day in and day out for some of the top sellers on Amazon. We know exactly how to write the listings and make sure you're fully optimized for keywords and index. So once you launch, you won't have a problem converting customers. Okay. Step 2, you're going to want to get professional images taken for your product. So in step 2, once your product is good to go and they're shipping out your product, if it's by air, generally shipping it by air or express is going to be a bit more expensive. You're probably going to ship it by sea, depending on how big the product is. If you have to ship the product by sea, I highly recommend that you get a couple of units. Tell your manufacturer, hey, look, you have 500 units, send 498 to Amazon, and you're working the numbers out with Freightos. Oh, and I forgot to mention, with Freightos, I also have another videos that will show you how to set up your shipping plan and how to get the shipping organized. So if you look at my videos, just go to Amazon shipping and I'll walk you over the shoulder how to set up your shipping plan, okay? And so when you're doing the photos, have 2 units sent to you by air. So have your manufacturer send you 2 different invoices, 2 different tracking numbers, and have them ship only 2 units, because it would be expensive shipping all of your inventory by air. Again, this is dependent on the size of the product. But the reason why you want 2 units sent to you separately by air and by express is because instead of waiting 45 days to get your products in and fulfill an order to a photographer, you can have your photography taken and do all of that while your products are being shipped by sea. So you can get ahead of the curve and get your images professionally taken, get your listing taken care of, so that by the time your inventory lands and arrives in the US, you already have your professional photos and your listing good to go, right? So this is going to save you a lot of time, because generally sellers wait till they get their product, then they'll send it into Amazon. Then once it's in Amazon, they'll fulfill a couple of units and send it to a product photographer. But that takes a ton of time. You'll want to do all of this while your product's in transit. And again, ZonRush, we also have professional photographers and a professional photography studio. So if you want to work with us, you can look at zonrush.co. Look at some of our quality of our work. We specifically do professional photography for Amazon sellers. We don't do any other sort of photography, so we know exactly how to format your images, whether it's lifestyle, all white background, infographics. If you need very specific settings, outdoor, indoor, we can accommodate practically any sort of photography situation. Okay. Now, step 3, inspect and send inventory into Amazon. And this kind of goes into what I had just mentioned earlier. You really want to get your hands on your very first batch of inventory, because ideally you're going to want to label the products yourself. But if you don't want to label the products yourself, you can have Amazon label your inventory for 30 cents a piece. But you really just wanted to look at and inspect your very first batch of inventory just to make sure, getting your hands on it to make sure everything is how you expected it to be. So now that we've got your inventory and you're sending everything into Amazon, now this is one of the most important parts of selling on the marketplace: launch. So what is a launch and why is it important? Well, a launch brings your product to the Amazon marketplace by proving demand for the product right out the gate. So I have several videos that go over this process in great detail, so I'm not gonna spend, because the launch in and of itself I can take hours explaining. That's actually one of the main services that ZonRush offers, is product launches using Facebook ads. But essentially what a product launch is for a brand new product, Amazon needs to see that people are buying your product. So just like any sort of launch, even if it's a mom and pop shop, you have marketing costs that are associated with a launch, right? They have inventory costs, marketing costs, flyers, the average mom and pop employee costs. These are all costs associated with, a mom and pop shop. Now for Amazon sellers, you also have launch costs, which basically means you need to get customers, and the easiest way to get customers is to just pay for them. So essentially, on your launch, you can leverage ZonRush. Like I just mentioned, one of our main services is product launches, and we also help sellers with Amazon PPC. So what's really neat about our proprietary AI software is that apart from driving traffic from Facebook, it protects your account from several things. Standard launch services are just centralized hubs that are just filled with discount-only buyers. ZonRush is not like that, right? And what happens is when you're using these discount giveaway services that are promoting it just to their list of discount-only buyers, you're more than likely going to run into hijackers. Now, what a hijacker is essentially someone buying your product at a deep discount and reselling it on your listing for a profit. And this is not very good for brand new products, because if you're sharing the buy box with another seller, they're selling your product, your Amazon PPC campaigns get turned off for half the day. So you're splitting the buy box with another seller for half the day, and depending on how many units they bought, it's a bit of a headache to run into. And with ZonRush, so that's what the older launch methods are. They're just promoting your products, copy pasting it on their marketplace and, billing you for that. And then, people doing retail arbitrage, aka hijackers, they just wait for the next product to get uploaded, buy it, and flip it on your listing. And ZonRush completely protects your account from that. We have not had a single hijacker, and that's because we leverage Facebook ads. So we're essentially a Facebook ad service for Amazon sellers when it comes to launching, because we drive real targeted buyers fresh from Facebook and deliver them to your product, right? We do the ad copy, the targeting, the follow-up. We do everything for you. We try to make it as easy as possible for Amazon sellers. And actually, Facebook traffic is something Amazon actually encourages. They encourage Facebook traffic, right? This is evident with their branding. Now they have tags where you can see the traffic funnels from what sources it's coming from. You can see they have a social media promotion code section now, so you can make a promo code and share it on Facebook or any other form of social media. So if you're, again, not comfortable, if you're not comfortable doing Facebook ads yourself, you can reach out to us. Again, you don't have to be a professional in everything. We'll partner with you. We'll make sure you get the absolute best results and get you, that much needed traffic you need in order to do really well on Amazon. And you can also leverage influencers, Amazon PPC, Amazon's giveaway platform, Amazon coupons, blog posts, Instagram ads, Google ads, Facebook ads. There's a ton of resources you can tap into to drive hordes of traffic to your listing in order for your product launch to go very well. Okay, so the launch workflow. The first 30 days are most important, okay? The reason for that is Amazon sort of they favor new product listings because you don't have any bad sales history. Actually, you don't have any sort of sales history. So no sales history is good sales history. So that's why it's very important that those first 30 days you are very efficient and consistent with driving traffic day after day. Because after the 30 days are over, a launch, you can look at it in a 3-month sort of time frame. The first month being the most important, the second is also important, and the third important. But the first month is the most important, and then the second month is when you're starting to grow your reviews, and the third month is when you can start to look into raising your price to your premium price. But for the first month, you need to focus on selling your product 30% below your premium price. So if you want to sell it for $100, sell it for $70. Okay, and the reason for this is to increase the conversions and until you have at least 25 reviews. So step 2 is follow up with customers for reviews, and step 3, keep your competitive price of 30% below until you have at least 25 reviews. So a lot of times what happens is sellers are selling at their premium price too soon. So this could hurt your launch because it'll decrease your conversion. So until you have at least 25 reviews, and those reviews act as much needed social proof, continue to keep your price competitive, so that way you're converting at a higher rate relative to your competitors, and that'll allow you to rank higher and higher for search terms. And so once you do have those 25 reviews, then you can slowly and incrementally, raise it by $5 until you get to your premium price. But you need to stay relatively competitive, those first 60 days for sure. So now, the name of the game for your launch is traffic, right? It's traffic, conversions, and follow-up. Traffic, conversions, follow-up. All of your efforts need to be focused on bringing continual traffic to your product, have high conversions, and getting your social proof built. Now, once you launch your product, it's very important that you do what I call the data incubation period, right? This is the feedback period. So though you can do everything in your power to make sure your product is perfect, you'll still need to make adjustments. Let the marketplace guide you. Use their feedback to improve your product. This ensures continual 5-star review growth. Now, why is this so important? Well, because oftentimes especially if you're a new seller, you can do all of your research ahead of time, but you're not going to know every little detail that a customer is going to demand of a product ahead of time. You can do as much research as you want. There are still going to be a few customers that, do not like the product, and that's a valuable asset for you. So before you start, if you get your first, 1 star, 2 star review, before you start trying to find that customer, uh, use that data. And if you have consistent, if there's a consistent issue or a consistent aspect of your product that are keeping a customer from leaving you a 5 star review, that is so important for you to optimize for, because they've paid you to give you their feedback. Think of it that way. Customers are paying you to give you their feedback. That is amazing. So they'll give you cash, and then they'll tell you on a 3 star review, hey, I just wish it did this. And if you can see that there's a consistency with the reviews, let's say there's a consistent 3 star review, um, and they're not liking a certain aspect of your product, you use that data, send it to your manufacturer, and say, hey, look, make my product better. Okay? You cannot continually grow on Amazon if you don't make improvements to your products. So it's one thing to do all your research, get it going, but once it's already live, that's real data that's tangible, and you can now use it as an asset for your Amazon business. Using customer reviews, send it to the manufacturers, improve my product, this is what they don't like about it. So then on your next batch of inventory, you already have a superior product, and it's continually getting better and better. And so this is why this hedges your risk, because if you don't do anything to nip it in the bud and to fix any sort of issue customers are having, odds are the issue is just going to keep recurring and recurring and recurring. And if it's recurring, it's going to make it very hard for you to scale to 5 star reviews or the higher review sequence, because you haven't made these improvements. So odds are it's a numbers game. More customers are going to have the same issues, and so it's going to make it very hard for you to keep a consistency with your 5 star reviews. So I hope that makes sense. Just break it down, use that data, and send it to your manufacturer, so that way on your next batch of inventory, your product is better. And lastly, you've improved your product, and you can now focus on growing and expanding your brand on Amazon. Domination time, baby. Look into new product ideas and rinse repeat this entire process. I hope you guys loved that. And the reason why I put it in this very specific workflow. Now, this isn't everything that you're going to need to sell on Amazon, but it's a good chunk to get you started. I do have a ton of other videos that you can look at, how to sell on Amazon or Amazon product research. That there's a lot of other trainings that will help you over the shoulder, get started for more of the nitty gritty stuff. But this is a powerful resource for you as an Amazon seller to look through, because you need to have the roots strong. And if the roots are not strong, no matter how much money you pour into your product, it's not going to do well. So if you use this online resource as a guide to help you be successful selling on Amazon, then you will do extremely, extremely well. And I'll have this guide available to download. So if you want to download this guide, you can. There's a link below in the description. But now here's the bonus time. So the bonus is, if you go to zonrush.co, you look at the services, there's a wide range of services we offer. If you use coupon code ZON50, you'll save $50 on any service, okay? If you go to Helium 10, you'll save 50% on your subscription. All you got to do is use code FullMetalSeller50, right? And then I do have an online course. If all of the free content on YouTube, if you need more of a hands-on approach, and if you want to join our live calls and work with me a little bit more closely to help you with your Amazon business, there's a link below in the description. It's my Amazon FBA course. If you use coupon code ZONCourse, you'll get $100 off the course, And that's my gift to you for staying to the end of this training. I know you guys are very busy, and I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to go through this training, okay? And also, join the tribe on Facebook. I do have a private group. There's the link will be in the description. Join the group. It's absolutely free. That's where I release, all my firsthand training for free, and that's where you'll be able to connect with other sellers on the same journey as you. We're a very close-knit tribe. We're always helping each other out, always constantly improving. And if you can surround yourself with other people who are on the same journey as you, it's incredibly empowering. So please join our tribe on Facebook. We would love to have you, okay? All right, so if you want a more in-depth training tutorial on how to find home run products to sell on Amazon, then check out this next video. I'm gonna show you over the shoulder how to find winning products that have huge upside and low downside. Remember the cardinal rule: buy low, sell high. Let's go ahead and dig into that training right now so you can see exactly what I mean.